Okay.
Okay? Okay. I'll call the meeting to order.
Sorry, hang on.
That couldn't have been timed any better.
She did have an alarm.
For the McHenry County Zoning Board of Appeals, our application today is 2023-011. It is a request for a conditional use permit in the A1 Agriculture District for a landscape business with outdoor storage. The applicant is Justin Raven and Joseph Raven. The address is 3320 Vermont Road. The PIN number is 12-21-100-010. It's a 5.1 acre parcel on the east side of Vermont Road, about 1,337 feet south of Secor Road in Seneca Township. I would like to introduce the board members, starting on my right with Ms. Beverly and the township in which they reside.
Jessica Beverly, Door Township.
Kurt Schnabel, Riley Township.
Vicky Gardner, Yonda Township.
I'm Linnea Kustra in Alden Township.
Robert Cozen, Algonquin Township.
Thomas Jers, Coral Township.
Mary Donner, Greenwood Township.
This petition has been reviewed and the following items have been received prior to today's scheduled hearing. Publisher's certificate of publication from a newspaper is dated December 30th, 2023, and thereby meets ordinance requirements. Affidavit of posting was signed and date posted was January 8, 2023, and thereby meets ordinance requirements. Affidavit of mailing was signed and the date mailed was December 27th, 2023, and thereby meets ordinance requirements. The survey has been checked against the petition, legal notice, and publication in the newspaper, and all three match. Filing fees have been paid. The endangered species consultation was not required for this petition. The McHenry County Soil and Water Conservation District report has been received. Anna, is this incorrect? The affidavit of posting was January 8, 2023. Shouldn't that be 2024?
Correct.
Okay, so the affidavit of posting was actually signed and the date posted was January 8, 2024, and thereby meets ordinance requirements. Okay, at this time, anyone who will be giving testimony, whether you're the petitioner, whether you're someone else asking a question, or members of staff, I'd like to swear you in at this time. So if anyone's going to be speaking at this hearing, you need to raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I
Yes.
did.
Okay. The way the hearing works is the petitioner will present their case, how they feel that this change should be granted. They'll be asked questions by the board, possibly by staff. Then if any members of the public have a question, you will have 3 minutes to ask any questions regarding his testimony. After that's finished, then staff will give their report, and at that time, if there's any members of the public who have a comment on the petition, you'll have up to 3 minutes at that time to give a comment. So at this time, we will just turn it over to the petitioner, and you can give us your case why you feel like this conditional use permit should be granted.
Okay, I mean, as you guys can see, that's my personal residence. All I do out back, in this picture, there is some trailers and stuff lined up front. Those are no longer there. When I started doing meetings with Anna and them, I had moved everything that was parked outside out of the way, so there's nothing out there anymore. There was some pallets of bricks out there. There was some other stuff out there in this beginning. I had removed everything, so everything out back was gone. Now the only thing back there is a pile of logs, which I use for firewood. I split it. I do that every single season. So like during the summer, I bring cut up logs in and I make a nice pile out back. And then in the wintertime, I split them all winter long and use it for firewood, give it to people for firewood, do that. And it's basically a cycle. By the end of winter, the pile's for the most part gone, and then I rebuild it in the spring. Like right now, we're splitting through it and just using it, but that's the only thing back there. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. That's really all I do there. It is my personal home. There's no employees there full-time. There's no business being run there full-time. There's no, stuff like that going on a daily basis there. It's just where I keep my stuff inside my barn. There's nothing outside. There's no garbage. There's no There was a burn pile out back when I bought the property. That has since been removed, because the health department came in and seen that, so we got rid of all of that. I didn't know that wasn't allowed. I've been complying with everything that's been asked of me. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot else to say. The property's always clean, it's always taken care of. You can't see anything from the road. I put up a nice 6-foot privacy fence along the front of the barn, so, you know, I mean, passing by the house, you would never even know that there's some logs sitting out back. But other than that, there's nothing there.
Okay, Justin, there's some standards that you need to address. They're found on page 6 in the packet that's in front of you, on the staff report, maybe it would be called. And the top of the page, it says approval standard for conditional use permits.
And I put them up on the screen.
So I'd just like to go through them with you.
Okay.
And you need to address each one.
Okay.
So number 1 would be that you've demonstrated the ability to meet any applicable standards contained in chapter 16.56. And that would be for a landscape business, which is on the following page. So maybe let's just go through those a little bit. So storage areas shall be restricted to those areas so designated on the site plan. You agree with that?
Yes, yeah, the area circled on the picture that we had supplied for them, the area circled will be where stuff stays. Like I said, that's my personal house, so my wife and nobody else wants to see anything either. So it's like it literally stays out back in the corner. It doesn't get put anywhere else but in the square area.
So it's just logs there?
That's all that's there. That's it.
So all landscape business vehicles and equipment shall be stored entirely within an enclosed structure or in a permitted exterior storage area?
Yes.
Okay. Preparation, assembly, and processing of materials shall occur wholly indoors and within the permitted exterior storage area only.
Yes.
Storage shall be limited to vehicles, equipment, and materials owned or leased by the property owner or tenant.
Yes, ma'am.
All vehicles stored on site must have current plate registration.
Yes, ma'am.
All structures utilized by the landscape business must meet all applicable building codes for the occupancy category.
Yes, ma'am.
Vehicle oil changes and maintenance shall occur only inside of an enclosed structure meeting all applicable building and plumbing codes.
Yes, ma'am.
On-site retail sales are prohibited except as allowed by a greenhouse nursery business.
Yeah, I don't sell anything on property.
The collection and storage of landscape waste at the facility shall be limited to tree branches 2 inches or greater in diameter, free of leaves, to be used as raw material to produce a legitimate product such as firewood, mulch, or wood chips, so long as it is processed in a reasonable amount of time as determined by the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency Bureau of Land Permit section.
Yeah, I don't do any mulch or anything there. It's strictly firewood.
Okay. A landscape business shall not store asphalt paving equipment or supplies. Storage of pavement de-icing agents shall comply with 16.56.050E. You don't have any de-icing agents.
No.
Employee parking shall be provided in accordance. You don't have any employee parking
No.
or employee bathrooms.
No.
And all storage areas, parking areas, and buildings shall comply with the required setbacks for the zoning district.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so then back to that number 2 then, that the site shall be so situated that the proposed use is compatible with the existing or planned future development of the area. Can you just address how your conditional use as a landscape business would be compatible with existing uses in your area?
Why are you, I'm not sure that I understand.
Okay, if you just read number 2 up there or in your packet. So you just have to address that whether this site.
Oh, wait. Wrong page.
Yeah.
Essentially situated that the proposed use is compatible with the existing or planned future development of the area. Well, I mean, yeah, that property's been used for farming. Like when I bought the property, a farmer kept all of his farm equipment in that barn and hayed the whole property before I bought it. I mean, it was never taken care of before I bought the place. And then we did a whole bunch of stuff to it after we bought it, and the gentleman that I bought it from renovated the whole house and made it look nice, and then the farmer moved all of his equipment and stuff out of there. So I'm not looking to do anything that hasn't been done on the property, I guess, before. It was essentially a farm property before that.
Okay. That the establishment, maintenance, and operation of your conditional use shall not be detrimental or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare of the neighborhood. You just have to address if you think that, yes, it won't be detrimental and why it won't be detrimental.
Oh yeah, I'm not doing anything that's gonna be detrimental to anybody's health, if that's what you're asking.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no.
That your conditional use shall not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted. So you having this conditional use, will this hurt the ability of surrounding property to enjoy their property?
No.
That the conditional use shall not substantially diminish or impair property value within the neighborhood. You don't think your use will impair property values?
No. Like I said, unless you were back there, you'd never even know it was back there.
That adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities have been or are being provided? You have a driveway?
Oh yeah.
Drainage, you're not?
Yeah, no, we went through all of that with the,
Staff plat.
yeah, we went through all of that, made sure everything was up to par, good to go. I literally did everything they asked me to do to make sure that I was just good to go.
Okay. Number 7, that adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide ingress and egress so designed as to minimize traffic congestion and hazard on the public streets. So your driveway, you going in and out of there is not going to provide a hazard.
No.
That the conditional use shall in all other respects conform to the applicable regulations of the zoning district in which it is located, so that you will conform to whatever regulations are in agriculture
Yeah.
otherwise. And that this conditional use is reasonably in the interest of public welfare. Can you demonstrate that there's a public need for this sort of thing?
I mean, everybody likes firewood, and I personally, you know, I do it all winter just to keep me busy, essentially, because like I said, I work all summer long, and then in the winter, essentially, I sit home other than doing that. So it basically is something to keep me busy all winter long, because I don't do a whole lot of, I mean, like I take my truck and plow some driveways, but like it keeps me busy through the winter, essentially, so that's most of the reason why I do it.
And number 10, that adequate measures will be taken to provide protection to groundwater recharge and groundwater quality.
I don't know what that means.
Well, you maybe address that in staff plat, that this is a strategic aquifer recharge area. Are you familiar with that?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay. So.
Are you meaning like putting anything in the ground that could be harmful type thing? Is that what you're saying? Oh, no, we're not doing that.
Okay. Okay, we'll start my questions starting with,
Sure.
Ms. Beverly.
In the groundwater vein, that's like the protections in here about not changing your oil outdoors.
Oh, absolutely, no,
and
yeah, I always
not
take
storing
my vehicles
salt,
elsewhere.
right. So that's what
Yeah.
that is. It's not storing, you're not changing oil, you're not storing salt on the ground, you're not using chemicals that would be
Gotcha.
harmful to
Okay.
the groundwater.
Yeah, absolutely, no.
Okay. I just had a few questions. You answered most of my questions. So everything that was noted as an outstanding issue was resolved prior to this hearing. You're all good to go. The health department has signed off on everything that you have planned. Okay.
Yeah, I believe she actually took pictures, I don't know if you have those, but she had come out and taken final pictures to prove that, because originally why the health department came out was that there was I don't know, like an existing landscape waste pile, burn pit out back, and then, I mean, obviously I had fires on it with my kids when I moved in, because I didn't think anything of it at the time. I'm like, oh, there's a fire pit here, let's use it. And then I found out that that was an issue, so I removed the whole fire pit completely. She came out and took pictures of it, and I proved that it was gone, and we haven't used that area since, so.
Okay. And you're only doing firewood, you're not doing compost, you're not doing mulch, you're not doing anything like that?
I don't do any, like I said, that's my personal home, and I like it to look nice. I still live there, my kids still are there, everyone, like, that's still my personal home, so I just do the logs out back. There's no, you know, there's not an abundance of landscape mulch there or materials or anything like that. It's just a log pile.
Okay.
And that's why I told anybody, anytime anybody wanted to stop by and look at it, like, that's all it is. There's not a parking lot full of vehicles back there and equipment back there and stuff like that just scattered everywhere. It's condensed to a corner of my property out back. From the road, there's a nice 6-foot privacy fence across the front. You like can't see anything from the road. So my wife wouldn't let me do any of that, if anything, she likes it nice, so.
And in that same vein, when you're selling the firewood to other people, you are delivering it, they're not coming into your property?
I don't allow personal pickup. If you go through my firewood list, anyone that buys it off me, I don't even allow pickup at my house. I have to deliver it or I don't do it.
Okay, and I see here, you mentioned the 6-foot privacy fence, can you tell me a little bit about what the fence looks like?
I can show you a picture of it. Actually, we might have a picture, maybe.
Is there a picture here?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I,
If there's not, I could find you one fast. When I moved in, there was just like a nasty, cheap wire 4-foot fence up front, and like I said, my wife wanted it to look nice, obviously up front, so when we moved in, I put up a nice 6-foot privacy fence along the front of the barn, so that way it's.
yeah, I don't have a good picture of
Okay,
it.
well, that's okay, I
I'll
just
find
wanted to
one.
be clear that it's a closed privacy fence. It is in fact a privacy fence, not just like a see-through fence.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
it's not even like a shadow box where it's like every other picket, it's a privacy fence.
So then there would be no requirement for like landscape screening or anything like that because the area is screened off and you can't see it?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I had for questions, thank you.
Mr. Schnabel.
I have no question at this time.
Ms. Gardner.
Did you wanna see a picture?
No, it's okay, I just wanted to make sure that it was privacy for the record.
How long have you been in the business?
About 15 years,
And how long have you had this property?
almost 3 years.
Okay.
I think it'll be 3 years in June.
And so the petition is in your name, Justin, and also Joseph. Who's Joseph?
He's a co-signer on my property right now. When I bought the property, I had some other loans going on, so I couldn't get the loan by myself, so he just co-signed for me when I bought the place.
So his name has to be on here then.
Gotcha.
Yeah, okay. Now, it said somewhere that there's a pool on your property, but every time I look at pictures, sometimes there's a pool and sometimes there's not. Is there a pool?
Yeah, we have a pool right there. We have a pool right behind my back deck that we put in an above-ground pool for the kids.
Okay. So it is there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there's a pool there.
Doesn't matter, I just was curious.
Oh, yeah, no, there's a
It
pool
seemed to
there.
disappear now and then.
We always took the kids to Woodstock Waterworks, and then I'm like, we have 7 kids, so
Wow.
they have fun, so, yeah.
Did you
I'm like,
have
let's just
yourself?
benefit and put in our own.
So, do you have employees that come to the site?
I just have, one of my guys meets me there in his truck, and he just parks up in the driveway. Sometime, I would say half of the time, I do a lot of work in like Wonder Lake and stuff, and that's where he lives, so he'll just meet me wherever I'm going a lot of times. But yes, if need be, if I'm working out by my house or in the general area, I have him meet and park up in the driveway, and then he'll hop in my truck and we leave. But that's how that goes. If I can get them to meet me and it's more convenient to meet on site, we will.
So, the business itself, the business actually is situated somewhere else, is it?
Yes, it's off-site, that's my personal home. The only thing I do there is, like I said, I keep my trucks there, I keep my stuff inside the barn, and I keep it in there, but otherwise, nothing actually happens on the property, it's all done off-site. All landscape waste or, chippings or anything that we take from a job is all disposed of off-site. Nothing is ever brought back to the property and kept there.
So there's another site where you would actually,
Well, I just have a bunch of places that I use to get rid of stuff or
Okay.
keep stuff on occasions. Like if I'm working in an area where I know somebody, I'll just keep my stuff at their place overnight or, whatever the case is, it's kind of wherever's closest to our job site for that day, cause it's just more convenient that way, and then I just take my personal truck back to the house.
so do you actually have employees or do you have pickup crews or, how?
I don't actually have any full-time employees, no, because I don't work all winter long. So I just find help for the summertime, and then in the wintertime, I just kind of do my own thing, and that's kind of my time with my family, so.
So you find people that you need when you need them?
Exactly.
Okay, so you're kind of contracting them in that respect?
Yeah, essentially, I guess you could say they're subcontracting for me, but they're with me.
Yeah, okay. So, with the firewood, you said you deliver all of it?
Yeah, everything is delivered. I don't allow pickups, I don't allow anybody there. Like I said, my kids are there all the time, that's where we live full-time. I don't want people on the property ever whatsoever to pick stuff up, because that's not my intentions. If you don't want it delivered, then I don't do it. You're not allowed on my property, I live there.
Where does it come from, the firewood?
From trees I cut down. Like, what I'll do is I cut them down and process them on other people's properties. I like cut them into 16-inch logs and stuff. And then I bring them back to my house and I stack them up in the back, and then that's what gives me my splitting wood for the winter time. So then I split it all winter, and essentially in the springtime, most of it's gone. But then I start over and I do it again, and I'll bring what I wanna use for winter back. I pick and choose, and then whatever I don't want, like I said, I dispose of at other dump sites.
Okay. And what kind of equipment do you store in the barn?
I got my Bobcat in there, my chipper's in there, my trucks are in there, my dump trailer's in there, just normal landscape equipment.
Okay. Do you do chipping on property or on
No,
site?
that's all done on like if somebody hires me to cut down their tree, we chip the whole tree on their property, we dump the chips on the way, get rid of them off site, and then I bring my stuff back. There's no chips or mulch or anything ever brought to the house.
Okay, all right, thank you.
No problem.
Mr. Cozen.
Thank you. What is the name of your business?
Ravens Landscaping Inc.
When you acquired this property, what was your thought process?
I acquired the property, so I'll tell you, before I lived there, we had 3 properties. I had a shop in Wonder Lake where I ran out of. I had a 2-acre shop there. Then I had my home in Wonder Lake, which was separate, and then my wife had a home here in Woodstock. So we had all these places and stuff all over the place, and we thought when we got married that why would we keep paying all these places and running here, running there, when I could, we could buy one big place for us all to be together, and I could do what I'm going to do. And at that time, like I said, all my stuff was stored there. I'd rather just walk out in my backyard, get in my truck and go do what I'm gonna do and then come back, rather than having to drive to the shop and then leave and then go to the shop and then go home. And then it was just, so the thought process was just to condense everything all into one property to make it more convenient and easier to run and easier to live, and all of us could kind of enjoy it a little more.
The building is about 6,400 square feet. Does it have power?
It did have power back in the day. It doesn't now. As far as I know, the power was cut before I moved in. We never messed with it. When we had the inspection done for the house, I never intended on doing anything more with it. I've never done anything to the building since I moved in. It is how it is when I bought it. But there is an old panel out in the barn to where it looks like there used to be power in there, but there's not since I've been there.
So it's not illuminated when the sun goes down?
Like lit up? No.
Yeah.
No, there's one light, like off the asphalt driveway, there's one pole with a monster light on it that lights up the property. But as for the barn, there's lights on the outside of it, but none of them do anything. So that's why like I said, back in the day, there might have been power out to that barn, but there's not now. And I've had electricians at the house to do stuff inside for me, and we've checked out back and there's no power out there. So there could have been back in the day, but there's not now.
And you would intend to follow any county codes required?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, any permits that have ever been required. When I bought the property, apparently the guy that redid the house did it without permits and everything. I went through a whole whirlwind to pull all these permits after we had moved in and found out that everything was done without a permit. I went through a whole headache. So trust me when I say anything that we do, the pool, the fence, I've pulled permits for everything.
Why did you put your log pile to the far northeast?
Just that it was the easiest place, so I didn't, when I'm, like I said, I put that privacy fence up front, so that way I could separate what I'm doing back there from my home life. Is essentially my goal, is I want it to be, obviously it's one property, but I want it to feel like it's 2 separate areas. When I go up front, that's my home, that's my pool, that's where my kids play, etc. When I go out back, that's where I'm doing what I'm doing, and it's like 2 separate areas. It's just the most convenient area on the property that, like I said, you don't see it from the road. Coming from the other direction, if you're coming, like if you're looking at this picture now and you're heading north on Vermont, you're not seeing it from the road as you're passing by. It was just like if I were to put it on the other side of the property, it's out in the middle of nowhere in the open where everyone can see it, and that's not my intentions. My property's nice, my property's clean, my property's maintained, and I like it to look that way.
Is the property to the north occupied?
Yes.
Have you met the property owners to the north?
Yes. Yeah, there's a thick tree line that separates the 2 properties that hasn't been maintained in probably 30 plus years. So I do what I can to maintain it, but that's, once again, another reason I put it over there, because the property to the south of me is just a big empty lot, and there's no coverage there. It would just be, you would just see this big ugly, you know. Why would you wanna look at the logs when you could put them back in a corner where no one can essentially see them at all?
And again, sorry if I didn't understand, the equipment that you use out of doors to split the wood from the 16 is what kind and how often do you use them?
I have my log splitters that are out back that, you know, obviously I put in and out of the barn as I use them and stuff like that, and then,
Well, are they pneumatic, are they?
yeah,
power?
they're the power
Engine?
splitter that you stand next to and push a lever and it splits it, and then I stack it into piles, and I'll use my Bobcat and move it with that.
Sorry, I'm a backyard person who, if it doesn't work off an extension cord, I don't know how to use it.
Oh yeah, no, these are gas powered.
Gas powered.
Yeah, I don't have any electric that far back on the property where any of that would be a thing.
And then just my last question, back on your application form, it's page 15. You use the expression, but want to be able to keep some stuff. Could you expand on the word stuff?
What do you mean?
Well,
Hold on, let me read what you're talking about.
it's the second page. It's called page 15 of the staff report 23. And the second to the last sentence says, but want to be able to keep some stuff outside instead of always in the barn. Could you expand
Oh,
on
like
the
such
word?
as, like, say I get back from work and I wanna leave a truck outside overnight, like, that's kind of what I meant by that. Like, if I get home and there was something parked in the barn, the way I, you know, can't get something else in there, leave it out overnight, put it away in the morning type deal. Not like leave it out long term, but like if I park something outside overnight, it's not gonna be the end of the world.
So do you store any fuel
No, there's no fuel tanks, no, none of that on there.
and the diesel engines to operate the wood splitters and so forth? Where do you bring the fuel from?
They get it from the gas station in 5-gallon jugs and
So
run
you
the
have-
splitters off of it, and then when they run out, I go refill the jugs at the gas station while we're out.
I have no further questions, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Jers,
No questions.
Ms. Donner.
I only have one, and it's because it was something that I read this morning, that there might be an extension. The Department of Transportation is suggesting that there be some extra work done along the road for a 20-foot piece someplace.
Anna, can you address that maybe?
Certainly. The county standard is whenever there's a change in use of the property and making this a conditional use permit for essentially a commercial aspect in the rear there, Department of Transportation has determined that that is a change in use. So whenever there is a change in use, if the road doesn't meet their standards for road width, there is a requirement that additional dedication of land be provided, and that's what's referenced there.
Okay,
And that's the permit that is referenced in the conditions.
oh, okay, so as long as so everybody knows that that might be something that's going on, I'm satisfied.
Yeah, we were aware of it.
Yeah, okay, then I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Anna, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Does any member of the public have questions for the petitioner?
I do. I'm the property owner to the north.
Okay, so.
You asked about that.
So, you will need to state your name and your address, and then you'll have 3 minutes to ask any questions.
Okay, Sally Bruno, 3300 Vermont Road. I guess my question's, so you're no longer going to be doing a lot of burning as you previously had?
If I have a fire, it's in a 55-gallon drum, and that will happen, but it doesn't happen daily.
Okay, because that's been an issue for me previously. It's been much better recently, but I just, going to a business, I want to make sure because
Well, yeah, there will
I
never
already
be
have lung
fires there
issues
every
and I'm a
day.
veterinarian and my horses have lung issues, so I kind of need to know, what's
Well, it's
being.
never gonna be an everyday thing. It's kind of an, as I fill the barrel up, I have a bonfire with the kids and,
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't even call it a bonfire because it's in a barrel, so, kids like marshmallows and so does everybody else.
But you're not bringing the yard waste that you cut down at other places
I
back?
never have. It's
Okay.
always been logs. If you
Okay.
can,
And with the logs that you bring in, the big logs that you cut up,
mhm.
Is there a time frame for, I don't know if there's a noise ordinance? I hate to be
I
picky,
mean,
but,
essentially it gets dark at 4 o'clock, so we're done by 4 o'clock in the afternoon anyway.
no, I'm talking about morning. Unfortunately, my bedroom is right to your fence line, and my
Okay.
fence line, which, yeah, those trees have been trimmed. And when you dump a big dump truck at 6:30 in the morning,
My guys don't even.
Or 7?
I don't start work till 7, so.
Okay,
Between
well,
7 and 7:30, I think
I've
7
heard
is
it,
the noise ordinance.
and I cuss a lot, because on my days off, I don't want to hear that. Kaboom! So I'm just asking as a neighbor, because I didn't know any of this was gonna happen. You know, when you first moved in, I came over and talked, and we talked about the burning, and I didn't
Yeah.
really get anywhere, so I kind of went, okay, you know, and then this popped up in my mailbox. So those are my big questions for him. My only other questions, and this I don't know is him or the board or whatever, does this make his property commercial, and is that going to affect my property value? Because I've been here 20 years, that's my farm. You know, it's my residence. I don't want the property value to go down, and my fence line is right there. And yeah, I do see his big pile of logs, I don't care about that. But, you know, when there's noise and there's some yelling and there's some loading logs into a truck where you know, you guys don't think about it, but when you're throwing them into the bed of a truck, kaboom, kaboom,
Yeah, well,
kaboom.
this is for questions right now, yeah.
So those are the kind of questions, I don't know if you want to adjust them.
I mean, there's
You
not
and I
really
have
any
never
way to
talked.
adjust
We've never
dropping
met.
firewood into a bed of a truck. I don't really know how I can fix that for you.
Maybe make it 9 o'clock, you know?
Well,
You're not willing to do that.
Well, I mean, if there's a noise ordinance, I will wait till the noise ordinance, but I'm, you know, I
okay.
also don't start the workday in the middle of the day. I will take that into consideration, obviously, though, because obviously I do a lot of work for everybody around that area, and everybody has no
okay.
problem with it, so
Got it.
I will
Well,
try and accommodate
And
everybody.
they haven't been happy either, so just letting you know.
Okay, does anyone else would like to have questions? Ma'am, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask?
Candace Larson, 3208 Vermont Road. My biggest concern is the burning. By the way, nice to meet you, Justin.
And this isn't a
I'm
statement,
not-
this is a chance for you to ask him questions only. You get a statement time later
Okay, ask a
So
question.
he's
of him.
he's answered, he says he's not gonna be burning like he was, so.
Yeah, and my biggest issue was the burning, and that's why I'm here.
Okay, you can make a statement in a while, but this
Okay.
is just for questions. Okay. All right. So at this time then, we'll go to staff for your report.
Okay. For the record, my name is Anna Kurtzman. I am a senior planner for McHenry County. The property is currently zoned A1, and all the property that is surrounding it and within roughly an eighth of a mile is also zoned A1, minus what's in Marengo there. Property in the area has been used predominantly for agricultural and a fair amount of residential, single-family residential in the area there as well. Whoops. The county's 2030 land use map is showing that this area was intended to be developed for agricultural purposes. We have gone through the staff plat review process with Mr. Raven. All the comments that were brought up during that process have ultimately been addressed. This was brought to us originally as a violation notice, and if the conditional use permit is granted, then the violation would be closed.
Does anyone on the board have any questions?
I do, thank you. Was there any comment received from Marengo?
No.
And who maintains Vermont Road?
The county DOT.
Thank you, that concludes my questions.
So Anna, sometimes we have limits on hours of operation for landscape businesses, correct?
So we can certainly place hours of operation on this. There is no noise ordinance that currently has a time frame associated with it for the county.
Just given the close distance to the neighboring home and where the activity is on this, I think maybe that might be something to consider.
Yep.
Okay, no other questions for staff? Okay, so at this time.
I still do. It was brought up before. The property is agricultural. The fact that it's a conditional use permit on that property for commercial use does not change the underlying agricultural zoning.
That is correct.
So should this conditional use go away if you move again, because you need a bigger house for your family? Something like that, or you're gonna go to another area, this property could go back to straight ag property.
That is correct.
Okay, then I'm okay.
Okay. So, yeah, go
Just
ahead.
clarification, it does the conditional use run with the owner or with the land?
It runs with the land, so if the property should change hands and if the new property owner wants to adhere to the same conditions that are in here, and they would have to follow the site plan here, then the conditional use could stay in place. Staff has recommended that this conditional use expire in 10 years. So the maximum life under this conditional use, if approved as presented, would cease in 10 years.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, so at this time, any member of the public who would like to make a statement, you'd be able to do so. So if either of you would like to make a statement again, you would just need to state your name and address and then tell us whatever you'd like regarding this petition, if you have anything else to add.
Well, Sally Bruno, 3300 Vermont Road. My biggest concern is, like I said, the property value. And I guess if you moved in 5 years and somebody else brought in another commercial business, they could do that. So that concerns me. And, if you guys expand, because right now your logs, they don't bother me. They don't interfere with the horses, but, if that expands, you have.
I can assure you, my wife would lose it if that happened. No, it isn't gonna be anything more than that. I literally don't do anything back there other than the logs. If you pay attention, there's never anything huge going on back there. There never will be. That's my personal home. There's never gonna be a mulch pile there. There's never gonna be any landscape waste
Okay.
there.
But
That's just not the intention.
All right, that's our chance now.
In the
Okay.
initial, when you guys moved in, burning was a huge issue for me, because it would just envelop my house all the time. So hopefully that truly has been addressed and it won't happen again and it's not part of the business. I don't know what had happened with the health department and all that kind of stuff, since I was never involved in any of that, but I just know that it was a huge issue. Close to the point where I wanted to leave McHenry County, and I've been here 20 years, so I want to keep the neighborhood residential.
Well, just for your own understanding, this conditional use is with this plat of survey, so it's with this specific thing happening in this specific location.
Right.
It's not like something else can take over that whole 5 acres. For a conditional use for a landscape business, it's to fit this plat of survey.
Right, and he has
And if he has any
additional
changes,
area to store and whatever,
he would have to come, if he wants to expand it in any way, he would have to come back here.
Okay, well, that's good. Okay, like I said,
Correct, Ann?
trying to clarify what's going on next door, because I like my farm. I like the peace and quiet.
Would you like to make a statement?
Candace Larson, 3208 Vermont Road. Yes, my biggest issue is the burning. In the beginning, it was daily. I could smell, I would wake up in the middle of the night smelling it in the summertime, thinking my barn was on fire, and running to the window. But, and in Justin's defense, it has backed way off, but the first couple of years was just horrendous. I'm concerned about my property value. My husband and I built our home 28 years ago, and we have equine, we have horses on the property, and the air quality has been pretty bad. You know, I'm concerned not only for myself, but for my animals too. That's just my biggest issue, is the burning and the property value. It's just like Sally. By the way, Sally's garage burnt down. She had plugged her tractor in during a year,
2 years ago.
2 years ago. She had plugged her tractor, the block heater in. We smelled smoke. I smelled smoke. I saw smoke. I was assuming it was coming from his property.
Because that's how
And
bad
here
things
it
have
was,
been.
her garage was burning down.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's how bad the burning was, when you just assume that, you smell the smoke. You see smoke, it's coming from the neighbors again. So as long as that can get under control, I don't want to deny anybody their means of making a living or anything like that. Right now, I mean, yes, his property is very well maintained. It's very nice, you know. I don't understand why all the activity is on that fence line when he's got all the vacant property on the other side. But, you know, that's just my biggest concern, is the burning, as long as it gets under control.
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes,
can I just make one statement really quick?
go right ahead.
McHenry County does have a burn ordinance, and it's restricted to April, May, October, and November on weekends only. There's really not anything that we could put into a condition here about burning, because there is an existing ordinance that every resident must adhere to. It's enforced by the Department of Health, Law Enforcement Agency, Fire Department, and Fire Protection District. So this isn't really an issue that we can handle at this board level, but just for your own edification, there is an ordinance, it's really available on Google, it's out there.
Right.
And can I make another comment? 2 years ago, when it was so bad, I did call the county and make complaints twice. And I was told I'd get a call back, and it never helped, and nothing happened. And my garage burned after that. And I was in my barn, and I saw the smoke billowing. And I went, damn it, he's burning. And I went out to get my horses in because it was so thick, and I looked back and I went, son of a bitch, it's my garage. I mean, so, yeah, no, I try to utilize the county, and I got nowhere. So I left it at that and kind of went, okie dokie. But like I said, things have been much better with the burning, but when you give me a certified letter that it's going to become a business, and then I don't know what else he can do. And that's, if he has to adhere to what's on this and nothing more, okay.
Okay.
You know, I'd like to be a good neighbor, not a bad neighbor, but just in, you know, we don't really talk, so.
Okay. Now your time is up.
Shut up.
So Anna, is there anything else that we can do in this as far as limiting burning for a landscape business?
The only thing that potentially could be is to say that burning is limited. However, that would have to be no burning associated with the business. By the time you got out there to observe, you won't be able to determine whether it was associated with the business or if it was a personal fire. So practically, not really.
I could probably clear this up for everybody real
It's
quick.
not your time yet.
Okay.
Anna,
Yes.
isn't there something within the ordinance for burning? Because I was always stuck with that too, that you had to burn within 100 feet or more, and you could only burn on weekends in April and May and October and November.
Right.
Okay, but if you had farm property and you could get 500 feet away from a building, you could burn anytime.
Since that is a ordinance that is administered by another division, I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay, but that was my understanding. Jessica,
If
you're
it's 500 feet away.
500
and-
feet away from a structure.
Right, and if you're outside of the times for burning, you can get an IEPA permit to burn landscape waste consistent with like large brush removal, things like that. Like, this is governed by law enforcement and fire district folks, it's not us.
But that's,
And I will note that all of these concerns in terms of the burning would be falling under our condition, all other federal, state, and local laws shall be met.
Right.
Okay. Do you have a closing statement, sir?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I could probably clear this all up for everybody right now. Like I said, when you called the county, we knew you called because she told us. And that's why I got rid of that burn pit out
No,
back,
and
was
it's been much
because of
better,
her. So now, like I said, when I have fires, it's just in a 55-gallon drum. You know, it rarely, I can assure you, it's not going to, a lot of what I was doing was cleaning the property up when we first bought it and burning it because I didn't chip on site unless I was doing like major stuff that the property needed. We were burning it because it was just overgrowth from when we bought the place. So that's what I was using that burn pit for so long. And then once that happened, when we took the burn pit out, we've obviously clearly never used it since. So now when I burn, it's literally in a 55-gallon drum, and that's how that's gonna stay because I don't know, I try and play by the rules, I guess. I don't want any problems, because then this type of stuff happens and it's just not worth it. So I can assure you that when I burn, it's going to be in those barrels, and that's it, that's how that's gonna stay. So you don't have to worry about a big fire pit ever, because that's not gonna happen.
It has been much better.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen, it's not, the fire pit's not coming back, it's not, there's not gonna be any of that stuff, so, just so, you know, like I said, I try and make everybody happy, so.
Okay, so Anna, the violation that was on this for International Residential Code violation, was that for the burn pit that was closed?
That would not have been the burn pit, no. That would have been filed with the health department, so.
So I know there was some health department issue
Well, the
on
health
this.
department issues was the burning of landscape waste that they had the issue with, and then they came out and took a bunch of pictures of the burn pit, sent them to me. I had no idea anybody even came out to the property. All of a sudden, I got a packet in the mail of my burn pit out back, and I'm like, oh, okay. And that's when we removed everything. That was the violation with the health department.
Okay, I wondered if that was the health department
It was,
violation.
yes.
Okay.
And then we had to get them back out. She went over the whole property, took a bunch more pictures, and
And that's all been resolved, it says it's been
Yes.
closed?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other violation is just for UDO violation, and that's what this is taking care of?
That's correct.
Okay, unless anyone else has any questions, we will close the hearing portion of this meeting and we will move to the voting portion. We have some proposed conditions. Staff offers the following conditions for consideration. And again, I should just state that this is for petition 2023-011. It's for a conditional use permit in an A1 agricultural district for a landscape business with outdoor storage. The address is 3320 Vermont Road, Woodstock, Illinois. Applicant Justin Raven and Joseph Raven. So staff offers the following conditions. Number one, the conditional use shall expire 10 years from the date of approval by the McHenry County Board. Number two, the conditional use shall substantially conform to the site plan stamped, received November 1, 2023. Number three, apply for a highway access permit from the McHenry County Division of Transportation within 3 months of County Board approval of this conditional use permit. Number four, the maximum height of materials contained on the site shall not exceed 6 feet in height. Number five, all other federal, state, and local laws shall be met. Are there any other proposed conditions? I would like to propose a condition that we have hours of operation starting at 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. Just so that because of the closeness of this activity to the neighboring home that I think that they should not be disturbed before 7 a.m.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we have add condition number 6, that hours of operation should be 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. I believe that 7 o'clock is the time that, except for moving gravel, that is a standard when they come by to shovel, when they come by to do anything, when the landscapers are coming by otherwise, but they have to get there. So they're getting there at 6:30 for it to open at 7. May I suggest, as part of this, if that's what we're going to do, that this gentleman, maybe you can load your stuff the night before?
Well, yeah, I'll definitely, yeah.
If you can, so that you're not
a
bothering her.
Conversation. This is not a conversation, Mary.
But
This is
that
just
would,
us.
yeah, that would be my suggestion, and I can't tell him to say, hey, at 4:30 when you get back home, put everything on it, then that won't be a problem. But 7 to 7 is fine, I think.
Any other discussion?
Yes. Probably being the most urban of the members on the ZBA, I have long lived across from a school bus stop, and that bus comes at 7 a.m. And so if those children can organize their day, even in the last couple days at 7 a.m. and find the stop, then I don't consider the recommended condition an unduly hardship, especially since the applicant indicates that he resides on the property. The equipment that he uses is on the property and has been doing this business for at least 3 years on this property. So I would be in support of this condition.
Okay. Any other discussion? Then I'll call for the vote for this condition. Ms. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Cozen?
Yes.
Mr. Schnabel?
Yes.
Ms. Beverly?
Yes.
Mr. Jers?
Yeah.
Ms. Donner?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, so this condition is added, the 7-0 vote. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the conditions.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Ms. Beverly, seconded by Ms. Gardner. A discussion, Ms. Beverly?
No, not really. I think that these conditions are completely reasonable and consistent with the staff plat review. The petitioner's testimony has demonstrated rectification of all of the violations on this property and an intention to move forward in compliance with state and local laws. And that this does not seem like an unreasonable use for this property. We have seen many different landscape storage facilities in my tenure here, and this one is the least intensive use of a personal property like this.
Just
Yes.
going down the line.
We're just going on conditions right now, not for request, not for the rezoning.
Right.
Do you have any comments on the conditions?
No.
Ms. Gardner?
No, I do not.
Tom? Mary? Okay, so I'll call for the vote. This is for approving the conditions. Ms. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Cozen?
Yes.
Mr. Schnabel?
Yes.
Ms. Beverly?
Yes.
Mr. Jers?
Yeah.
Ms. Donner?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, so the conditions are approved 7-0. Now I would entertain a motion for the conditional use.
I'll move.
Ms.
I'll second.
Beverly, second by Ms. Gardner. Discussion again, Ms. Beverly?
Sure, as indicated, this is a 5-acre A1 property with proposed landscape storage exclusively for firewood. This is not a landscape business operation per se with multiple employees. This is a one-person operation with firewood delivery. This is not consistent with more intensive uses of properties that we have seen under this sort of conditional use permit. The staff recommendations are consistent with what the petitioner is interested in doing, and the survey provided by the petitioner is very prescriptive as to what is and is not permitted. There is a 6-foot privacy fence It appears that most issues with neighbors per comments have been resolved through conditions and testimony, and I'm in support of this petition.
Okay, Ms. Gardner. I'm gonna go down. Well, yeah, we'll go down the table. We'll do it that way.
I'll be
I'm getting
very-
messed up otherwise.
I will be very brief. This is the least intensive A1C petition I've seen since I've been on the board for the past many years at this point, so I will be in favor of this petition.
Ms. Gardner.
I agree with what's been said. I appreciate the fact that you keep your property so nicely. I did see it. And I think probably you can come to some agreement with the neighbors about, dumping the firewood. Heads up maybe would help,
Well, yeah, like I said, I try and make everybody happy around that, so if I don't.
This is just
Oh,
us.
sorry.
Overall, I think this is a good operation. I think it fits on this property, so I'm in favor.
Mr. Cozen.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'm always troubled to always learn that one person's rear yard is another person's front yard. But in this case, and what is established by the ordinances, there are conditions. These conditions have publicly been established, and with these conditions, I'd be supporting the petition.
Mr. Jers.
I'm in favor.
Ms. Donner.
I'm in favor.
Okay, and I agree with the comments by my colleagues, so I will call for the vote. Ms. Gardner.
Yes.
Mr. Cozen.
Yes.
Mr. Schnabel.
Yes.
Ms. Beverly.
Yes.
Mr. Jers.
Yes.
Ms. Donner.
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, so this goes to the county board with a 7-0 recommendation for approval. At this time, the hearing is closed. Thank you.